You're in a position where you are skinny, yet you're also fat simultaneously. And what this technically does is places you in a paradox or a contradicting belief system that is not only mentally draining, but so mundane that not knowing what to do about it leads to total indecision. And this leads you to staying in the same place and being depressed, not because of laziness, but because of not having the correct information. And excuse my French, but you're most likely asking yourself, what the do I even do? But what if I told you that you actually have an untapped gold mine of fitness potential? It's almost like in movies where the group or a single character finds the dusty and mysterious machine that actually ends up holding dire significance to the storyline entirely. Think of these examples in direct correlation of the results that are waiting for you. However, you haven't even fired up the machine or you haven't uncovered the hidden information. Now in this video, I guarantee you that you're not only going to walk away with the golden key fundamentals into finally seeing your abs, but also explain to you how to stay motivated year-round so you can sustain your results around the clock. And this even accounts for holidays and vacations. First, you want to understand the concepts of a calorie deficit, which are going to be different because you're skinny fat. You'll probably hear all over the internet that you need to be in a calorie deficit in order to lose weight, in order to lose body fat, and in some cases, build muscle. This is true to an extent, but you've actually looked in the mirror before. Congratulations. You've realized that you're skinny fat, so your calorie deficit is going to be less aggressive than someone who has way more weight to lose, and I'm going to explain why. In a calorie deficit, we are mainly reducing the amount of energy intake. This is because we mainly have an excess of it in a lot of cases. So if we were to take a larger individual and put them on a 500 to 600 to even 700 calorie deficit, it wouldn't play as big of a role for you, because whenever you do the 500 to 600, 700 calorie deficit, yes, you will lose body fat quicker. But this is a fragile period of time for you, because if you have truly not touched a weight before, this is your most fragile time period right now. And this is mainly because your body is so hyper responsive to what you do to it. It's not used to the activity that you are triggering it to respond to. And that's why in your first few weeks of lifting, you're going to be the most sore you're going to be within your whole life potentially. And this gives you a natural steroid-like effect of building muscle while losing body fat at the same time. So since you still have an excess of energy or body fat in this case, we're going to take it slow and steady so that we can milk as much muscle building ability that we have in this time period while also losing body fat. You're giving yourself this golden platter of opportunity that if you gave yourself maybe even 90 days, you can completely reconstruct your body within that time frame. Compared to if you took a larger individual, gave them the exact routine and the exact amount of calories they had to eat for them, and put them in a 250 calorie deficit compared to the 500 to 700 calorie deficit that they're in, which is the key for you. We're losing at a slower rate. But if you took you, this skinny fat individual, and put them in a larger, heavier calorie deficit, and by heavier I mean more extreme of a calorie deficit, yes, you will burn body fat, and yes, you will build muscle. But in doing this, you are critically limiting yourself to the amount of progress that you can make in this time period. So if this is the case, how should you be training? Now in this period of time, you could literally do anything and it will work. You could be putting your laundry away and you'll grow muscle. No, I'm kidding. That's not even possible. But it all comes down to the workout split or the workout program you do. Have you ever heard someone ask someone, hey, what split do you run? Or what program you do? Anyone who has any sort of experience in this realm is going to tell you, literally just do any of them. Because they all work. It just comes down to time. So out of all the options you have, push-pull legs, Arnold split, upper-lower, full body, the key is to find the one that you think that you can stick to for the next 10 years to your whole life practically. Once you found this, all it comes down to is you executing day by day. And for the most part, that's really all it is. All you have to do is just do it. I'm not kidding. And rest days are important, but do not use them as a crutch to try and get out of the workout. This is so important, you have no idea. And I am a victim of this occasionally. That does not mean I'm not getting better at this bad habit though. I have been able to make it to the gym literally every single day that I said I was going to. But if something does happen, like a family event comes up and you have to take a rest day, account for it. Because weight training is only a part of the equation. And in the end, your rest is ultimately going to determine determine how much progress you end up making. And the one critical key that you want to take note of in finally seeing your abs is going to be your cardio. Because as much as you get winded from lifting the weights, you may think that you're burning a lot of calories through that, but it's just not the case. You are 100% going to need to be doing some sort of cardio activity. Anything that's going to break you a sweat after 30 minutes. I would honestly say if you could just get to the 130 to 150 BPM range for a 30-minute interval, that is the sweet spot. Other than that, you're going to focus on getting your daily steps in, which I'm throwing all this at you right now, but it actually becomes so much easier because it's more habitual focus. That means as you start to follow this journey, you start to implement more habits into your day that you don't even realize you even implemented. So just before I move on further to getting your steps in and the habits you need to implement, I'm going to show you what cardio options are most likely going to be available to you depending on what gym you have open to you. And I'm going to be honest, it could literally be anything. It could be the Stairmaster, it could be the elliptical, it could be the bike, it could be the treadmill, it could be backflipping in place for 30 minutes, and quite honestly, you'd still burn calories. But the open choice paradox of having all these options available to you can be very, very overwhelming. So just pick one and commit to it. Unless you don't like it, remember, you have all these options, so at least try them. Now, when it comes to your lifestyle, you ultimately want to be moving more because we were not meant to be sedentary. So the main thing you want to be able to execute in your daily life outside of the gym is, yes, of course, the diet, but also getting your daily steps in. This could be simple 10-minute walks after you eat, or even after your lunch break at work, or some wacky things that I'll do is I'll park in the furthest parking spot whenever I go somewhere, just so I can get the extra steps in. And the process of that is super redundant, and that's the point. It sounds idiotic, but it really does add up. But the key way to do this is adapt these habits into your environment. Maybe you have an Apple Watch you strap to your arm, so it lets you know how many steps you have, and it's a reminder to let you get moving. I mean, I don't have one, but maybe soon, you know. Right now, I just use the health app on my iPhone to track my steps. I don't really know if Android has one. I'm not really a nerd, so I wouldn't know. But feel free to drop a comment if you are a nerd and you know. And to go back into the environment aspect of this could be the most dangerous thing that can keep you off the rails. If you have your own control to your environment, where you live in a house that has a pantry full of snacks that are available to you 24/7, you're already setting yourself up for failure, and somehow you're watching a YouTube video to actually tell you that, even though you already knew that. So don't be mad at me, we just gotta make a change. I always tell people that the only time you actually need to use willpower in this journey is in the grocery store, because your grocery shopping reflects what's going to be in your household. Other than that, you only really need to use willpower a fraction of the time, and later on in the video, I'm going to explain why. But if you were someone who emotionally eats, or you just eat because you're bored, would you feel guilty if you ate more blueberries and almonds compared to potato chips and Cheez-Its? I mean, I'd sure hope not. And for me, I literally found this free bike off Facebook Marketplace, and now I have access to cardio even when I can't make it to the gym, right? Remember those emergencies we were talking about where you actually can't make it to the gym? You could at least do your cardio. It's the little win of just showing up that really does play a toll on your mental health. Now that I've given you a full blueprint on how to turn your skinny fat love handles that hang over your belt into six-pack rock hard abs, I'm gonna give you the key on how to stay motivated 24/7. Everybody on the internet nowadays is going to tell you F motivation, discipline's where it's at, David Goggins. And if I'm gonna be real with you, yes, that actually is pretty valid. And I always look at that argument and think, wouldn't you just want to be motivated all the time if you could? So with discipline being a good skill set to utilize when you need it, how can we stay motivated most of the time? Because discipline ends up being very mentally draining. And from what you believe right now, you may believe that motivation is just a feeling that comes and goes, and that you expect it to be bestowed upon you at some point in time that you don't know. Which it does come and go, but technically speaking, you can control the rate that it comes and goes. So if I were to break it down for you, I'm not gonna break dance, I promise. Motivation is not supposed to just find its way over to you. You actually find its way over to motivation itself, and you actually do this by taking action. You may not be feeling a morning gym session whenever you wake up. You're groggy, you just got out of bed, you have to brush your teeth, you have to eat breakfast. There's so much friction in actually going to the gym and getting it done. And this is the state where you are not motivated to do it. But the fact that you actually got up, brushed your teeth, ate breakfast, got in your car, commuted to the gym, and you actually killed your workout. You actually may have even felt better as soon as you got in there. That ends up creating the motivation to get in for the next session. And that ends up being a huge snowball effect and making making you want to go day to day. So to give you a good analogy for this concept, the buried treasure doesn't dig up to you. You have to take the shovel and manually start digging. Everything you believed about motivation is completely flipped backwards on its head and doing backflips. And it ends up being this continuous loop where action creates motivation, which creates more action, which in turn creates more motivation. Now that is all I have for you today. Unfortunately, the file corrupted for this footage, so I had to cut it short. With that being said, if you want to work one-on-one with me, that first link in the description below is my one-on-one coaching link. I have 40 minutes of extra footage I could have used, so if you guys want a part 2 to this video, let me know. On that note, everyone, take it easy.